Seriously?
Hey people, and welcome to this video with myself, 6+ Stevo. So it's been exciting times, hasn't it? It's been exciting times. If you haven't already guessed by the thumbnail and the colour of this shirt, this video is all about bad moons and how we are doing in this new book. I've only had this a couple of days now, and I've been giving it a good old read, and yeah, there's loads, tons to unpack, and I didn't really know where to start. I didn't really know whether to do like a full review. Time restrictions have been made that a little difficult, and just there's so much to take in and read and go through that I thought that would be quite a Herculean task to undertake. And then yeah, I thought about breaking it down in various ways, and I didn't really know where to begin. And I thought, well, just begin with the bits that you know most about and that interest you the most, and then you'll be well equipped to talk about it on video to your subscribers. And I imagine there's a lot of Bad Moon players out there as well who will find this very interesting. Those of you who play the lesser clans, I do apologise. I may get to them at some point, and we shall see. But yeah, for now, this video is going to be pretty much, well, it is going to be fully focused on the numero uno clan, the Bad Moons. Because they is the richest, they is the best, they is the shiniest, they got the most Daca. And that makes them the best. So yeah, it's been an interesting read, seeing how Bad Moons have changed, because Bad Moons have changed a lot. The Orks, just the whole faction has changed dramatically in this book. This is the most significant change I think we've ever seen Orks go through. There's so much new stuff. There's the return of some things, and there's just so much changes from the ground up. I mean, we've got the increased toughness. We've got the changes to a lot of the weapons. Daca Weapons is a new thing, a whole new weapon type that we've got that replaces assault weapons. And yeah, I guess we'll start there really, because upon sort of first reading the Daca rules and things, and reading into the different units and stuff, and how many shots they get, and how the weapons work, I think for the most part it does feel like a bit of a nerf compared to assault weapons. Yes, we're getting extra shots, but we are losing the ability to advance and shoot, which was something that was so integral to us Ork players. It's just kind of, we've spent forever doing that, and it's going to be really weird not being able to do that anymore. Really, really weird. Being able to advance and just take that -1 to shoot, and just think to hell with it, just charge up the board, Daca away. It felt very orky. These new Daca weapons don't work like that. We can still move them and shoot them, totally fine. But advancing and shooting, when we advance now, we're going to have to choose. Do we want to just advance and get into melee quickly, or are we going to want to shoot? And I think for most Ork players, the answer to that is going to be advance and to hell with the Daca and just get in there. To most, not all. And this is where the Bad Moons come in. Because I think we're one of the few clans, possibly freebooters as well. They're another sort of quite shooty focused clan, and have got some nice sort of buffs and traits of their own. But Bad Moons, I think, can really get the most out of these Daca weapons. We'll get to it a bit more in a minute, but Boyz, for example, Slugger Chopper Boyz, on the surface it seems pretty obvious when you look at the stats of the shooters, and you compare Shoota Boyz to Slugger Chopper Boyz. I don't think there's much contest. I think for the most part Slugger Chopper Boyz win out easily. The extra attack, the -1 to AP, compared to Daca guns that at half range, now half range being within 9 inches, gets to shoot 3 shots with no AP. Shoota Boyz are definitely going to find it tough, finding much love, I think, with most clans. But we will get onto them, because I think with Bad Moons, I think Shoota Boyz are in a pretty good place. But yeah, overall, I don't know. Let's. I don't really know where to begin with this. As usual with my videos, I've got some notes. I'm just kind of going to go over it. I'm just going to read some bits out from the Codex and go over some various bits and how they've changed. I'll start off with some negatives before we go anywhere with this. I'll start off with some negatives. What have we lost? How have Bad Moons changed and what have we lost? Well, we've lost rerolls. We're not getting them rerolls anymore. We had the rerolls of 1s. Yeah, we're going to miss those. I don't think a lot of the time they really resulted in a huge amount of difference. When combined with the Daca special rule, which we've also lost, it added up, you know, re-rolling the 1s and then some of those re-rolls of 1s exploding and getting you extra shots and things, you know, it could result in, you know, when you rolled well, it could result in some extra firepower and some extra punch, and it could make the difference at times. And Bad Moons could occasionally surprise you with some very impressive shooting. But I think GW are trying to move away from so many re-rolls, and it did get a bit fiddly at times. It did get a bit much, you know. And I think we're far from one of the only clans, sub-factions, factions, whatever, that suffered from the sort of re-rolling so many dice. Re-rolls, they can feel a little bit lazy. So, yeah, it's going to take some getting used to, not re-rolling them 1s anymore. But I don't think we're going to miss it too bad. I think what we've got, I think there's some nice tricks we can do with it. We lost one of the psychic powers as well. Our exclusive psychic power, Gleaming Gear, from the Saga of the Beast book. Disappointed with that, because that was a great one, where your weird boy could cast it on a unit, vehicle or infantry, which was lovely, and give it a +1 armor save, which was really fucking useful ability. You could cast that on like a Gorkanau and give it a 2+ save, or a Death Dread and give it a 2+. You could cast it on some Ard Boys, which have also gone. You could cast it on some Ard Boys to buff them to true Ard Boys, give them a 4+ save. So you could. It was a very useful ability. I found myself upgrading my weird boy in the when I was using Saga of the Beast to a warp head, so that I could have Gleaming Gear and a jump. And I'd quite often try and cast Gleaming Gear on a unit and then jump them in to buff them with an armor save and then jump them across. So yeah, I gutted to see that go. But I had a feeling a lot of the Saga of the Beast stuff was going to drop out of this codex. But a lot of it has remained in too, which is really good. Some of the really good stuff has remained in. What else? What other negatives are there? Well, the big negative, of course, is no Nazdreg still. Come on, GW. You brought back Zodgrod, you brought back Mozrog. Not brought him back, you brought a new character, Mozrog, in. Yeah, you brought loads of cool stuff, but no Nazdreg. Bad Moon's still not getting any love. But Nazdreg does get mentioned. He has a nice little bit written about him in the Bad Moon sort of fluff section. So GW certainly haven't forgotten about Nazdreg. So there is still hope for us Bad Moon players to get our true leader back. And what a glorious day that will be. But yeah, sadly not yet. But yeah, that's pretty much covers some of the negatives anyway. There may be more. I'm sure there is. And if there is, share in the comments section below. But this video is largely positive, and we want to focus in on some of those positives. And there is some great things. So I guess I'll start with just reading out what the Bad Moons get now. And I've got to say, I love the way this codex is laid out, where you've got the different clans, you've got their trait their Warlord trait, their stratagem, and their relic, all in one nice little section. So that covers all. I like that. That tidies it all up. And generally, the way that the whole codex is laid out is, in my opinion, a vast improvement over previous codexes. Certainly the last couple of codexes, anyway. But yes. So let's read. What do Bad Moons get now? They no longer get the rerolls of 1. They get this instead. Add 6 inches to the range characteristic of Daca and heavy weapon models with this culture. Characteristic of Daca and heavy weapons models with this culture are equipped with. So yeah, really good. Extra range. So 6 inches on Daca weapons, which covers most of the weapons in the codex. Most of those weapons that were previously assault weapons are now Daca weapons. And heavy weapons. So yeah, we'll get into that as we go on, and sort of we'll cover a few specific units that will be, I think, quite important. They're quite important units to me, and I think they'll be quite important units to other Bad Moon players out there. But yeah, that extra range can be really nice, particularly on the Daca weaponry, which we'll get to when we talk about it. Each time a model with this culture makes a ranged attack on an unmodified wound roll of 6, improve the armor penetration characteristic of that attack by 1. Now that is a lovely, lovely little ability. So we've got exploding 6s on the wound rolls. So when you roll 6s to wound, you get a -1 to AP, which is really good. It turns shooters into AP1. It turns rockets into AP -3, because this isn't just Daca weapons. This isn't just heavy weapons. It's just ranged attacks. It doesn't actually specify a type of weapon. So we've got added range to Daca and heavy weapons, and we've got those 6s to wound give us extra AP on all ranged weapons across the board. That is massive. That is really good. I think when you first read it, it doesn't sound like a lot, but trust me, you're going up against Space Marine players and some of the more elite, tougher units with high armor. Those 6s are going to mount up during the game, and that extra 1 to AP makes the world of difference. It really does. And yeah, I think so. All the Daca weapons, all the heavy weapons, all the assault weapons, because I think there are still some assault weapons. Yeah, they're going to be doing the business. Do we have any rapid fire weapons? I don't think we do. Pistol weapons, so sluggers. The 6s going to be getting that -1. It's pretty good stuff. So yeah, that is our new culture, armed to the teeth. And overall, I think it's really good. I think it's better than re-rolling ones, personally. Let me know what you think in the comments section. I'll probably say that a few times for this video, because I really want to get a discussion going. And this video isn't going to be, you've probably already realised this from now, it's not going to be very streamlined, shall we say. I'm going to waffle a little bit and just sort of share my thoughts as they happen. Like I said, I've taken some notes. I'm going to sort of go over thoughts and things as I go through it, but I am likely to sort of have things pop into my head as I'm reading stuff for like the 5th time. But yeah, so if there's anything I miss, or anything you want to add, and anything you've noticed that you think is really cool for the Bad Moons, please share it, because hopefully this video will become a really good resource for Bad Moon players looking to get the most out of this codex, and not just from what I'm saying, but from what you guys are saying in the comments section, because I think that can really help a video as well, and you can fill in all the gaps I miss, because I'm still yet to just really absorb all this. I'm going to need to give it several read-throughs before I really absorb all of it, and I'm sure months and months down the line I'm going to read bits and go, oh, that's a nice trick I never considered. But so that's our trait. What do we get for our Warlord trait? We get the best armor teeth can buy. Now this is one we had in the last codex, which was a nice little Warlord trait. I did use it sometimes. It depended. If my Warlord was the big mech with KFF, which he quite often was, I quite often didn't use it because I had his KFF anyway, and I'd give him usually Arda's Nails to give him that toughness 5. But if it was a war boss, I'd quite often give it to the war boss, just because I think that 4+ invan save did help save his skin a few times. But it gets better in this. They've improved it slightly. First of all, you have no restrictions now in who you can give this to. Obviously, you've got to give it to your Warlord, and it has to be an Ork like character, obviously. But yeah, it looks like you can give this to, like, you could give this to a Weird Boy if a Weird Boy was your Warlord. So you can give your Weird Boy some armor, which is really cool. Might make for some fun conversions. Now I think I'm reading that right, because it doesn't make any mention of it. Whereas I'm sure before in the old Codex, I'm sure it was like models with heavy armor only, or something like that. It was you could only you had restrictions on it, but now you can give that 4+ invan save to anyone. And also it gets better, because not only do you get the 4+ invan save, you, in addition, add 1 to armor saving throws taken for this Warlord. So we can have a war boss now with a 4. We can buff his 5+ invan to a 4+, and we can buff his 4+ armor save to a 3+ armor save. So it's gonna make him quite a bit more resilient. Having a 3+ save on your war boss is very, very cool. Is very cool indeed. Now, where I said there's no restrictions, obviously you could. I don't see anywhere where you says you can't give this to a war boss in mega armor. I'm not sure how that would work though. Obviously he'd have the 4+ invan save, but then does he go to a 1+ save? So I'm guessing he would still effectively be a 2+ save, but like a -1 modifier wouldn't count against him, because you've effectively got that +1 on there. I presume that works. It doesn't say anything about not giving this to a 2+ save person, so you can effectively have a 1+ save out there, which that's good no matter what way you cut it, isn't it? So yeah, this is really cool, and I love the idea of being able to, like say, potentially give this to like a Weird Boy or something, and just, you know, or to maybe like a big mech with a shock attack gun or something. Could be quite cool. But yeah, I think that's nice. I like the way it's pretty free flowing. You can give it to anyone and just buff their invan save and buff their armor save all in one hit. It's quite nice. It's quite nice. Is it as good as some of the standard traits? I don't know. I quite like the Arda's Nails trait, which has seen a big improvement over what it was. And I used to like it a lot in the last Codex. It gave you +1 toughness in the old one, but now it's got even better than that. I think it's yeah, it's a lot better now. But that's not for this video, because it's not Bad Moons. We've got our stratagem back, showing off, but it's changed a lot. So showing off stratagem before was I think it cost 2 CP. I'm sure it cost 2 CP. It definitely did. And you could only use it once per game, but it was good. I mean, it was powerful. You use showing off, and a unit you've just shot with can immediately shoot again. And this was a popular one for people to use on Lootas or Tankbustas primarily. I used to use it on my Tankbustas a lot. My Tankbustas would go in, they'd combine it with the more Daca stratagem, so the Daca was triggering on 5s as well as 6s, do all that, then use the showing off to do it all over again. It was fucking devastating, and my Tankbustas would come in on like turn 2, obliterate every vehicle on the board, and then get wiped off the board themselves. But they would have more than paid for themselves in that action. It would cost 4 CP to get it off, but yeah, it was good. So now showing off is 1 CP, and it's on the surface it's a lot weaker, but I think over the course of the game, I think it's actually going to be better over the course of the game. I'll read you through what it says. Use this stratagem when a Bad Moon's core or Bad Moon's character unit from your army is selected to shoot. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in that unit makes an attack with a Daca weapon, an unmodified hit roll of 6 scores 1 additional hit. So basically this is giving you a much better Daca. Whereas Daca before, you'd get those exploding sixes and they'd give you extra shots. This is just, so you roll sixes, that's 2 hits instead of 1. That's so much stronger than Daca. It's not shooting again like we're showing off, but it is going to make that shooting quite nice. It's that if you're rolling a lot of sixes, obviously you can use this stratagem and then still not roll many sixes or any, and then it's wasted. But it is only 1 CP and there's no limit on how many times you can use it. So you can use this every turn. And I think for Bad Moon players, this is pretty much going to be just compulsory. Every single turn you're going to show off with something. You really are going to show off with something, because yeah, that is really good. And then combined with their trait, so now you've got 6s to wound are getting you that extra armor, 6s to hit are getting you extra hits. Yeah, I think it combines nicely with their actual clan trait and buffs them up just that bit further and makes their shooting that much more effective. So on the rolls to hit and to wound, you're going to be looking for those 6s and they're going to be causing a lot of extra trouble for the opponent. You're going to be getting extra hits and extra AP. It's not too shabby, and you're going to be doing that every single turn, picking one unit every single turn and doing that with it. So yeah, that is going to be very nice. And their relic is the return of a classic, my favourite, what I like using, the Gobshot Thunderbust. This has slightly changed. I don't think the stats of it have changed at all. It's a ranged weapon, 12-inch range, heavy 2d6, strength 5, AP -1, damage 1. But it auto hits. It's basically a twin-linked 12-inch range Scorcher. So like a Scorcher that you can hit people with from deep strike, because it's 12-inch range, not 9-inch range. It's a really nice gun. It auto hits. So that is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, it's really good. And it's heavy. It's a heavy weapon with a 12-inch range. Yeah. So actually, because it's a heavy weapon with a 12-inch range, it's actually getting an 18-inch range because it's a heavy weapon. And it's held by a Bad Moon. So you've got a auto-hitting 2d6. Like, you've got auto-hitting Scorchers of an 18-inch range. Yeah, baby. That's lovely. That is really nice. I've literally just realised about the 18-inch range as I've been reading it as well. So I'm like, oh shit, like that's so fucking good. Oh baby, yeah, the Gobshot Thunderbust just got a lot better than it was. But yeah, it's slightly changed, because before it replaced the shooter part of, it could replace a custom shooter, a combi shooter, a combi rocket, or a combi Scorcher, and it would replace the shooter part. So you'd still get the rocket, the Scorcher part if you wanted that. Now you don't have that option. It just replaces a custom shooter. But yeah, so this is really cool. You could put this on like a war banner knob. You could on like a war boss with a custom shooter, or a big mech. I'm sure, hopefully the big mech can still take that. The big mech with mega armor, should I say, not the... let's have a quick check if he can. That's not him. Big mech, where are you? Big mech in mega armor. Here you are. He is armed with... Can he take a custom shooter? He can. He can take a custom shooter. That's good, because I have a big mech in mega armor with a Thunderbust modelled on him. Maybe if I remember, I'll share a link so you can check him out, because I'm quite pleased with that little kit bash conversion. So he's going to see a lot more action on the table. Also because his teleport blaster has got a damn sight better, and KFFs have got a lot weaker. So yeah, I think teleport blasters are kind of the go-to option now for big mechs in mega armor. Check them out, they're quite tasty. But yeah, there you go. So All overall pretty good. How does the clan compare to other clans? I think Goths are looking really, really strong. Snakebites have seen a massive buff. People have been saying that Death Skulls have been hit with a nerf hammer heavy, but I still see Death Skulls as really, really strong. They have been nerfed somewhat, but they're now, yeah, I don't know. This video is not about Death Skulls, but they're getting like a 5+ feel no pain, for fuck's sake. A 5+, not a 6+, a 5+ feel no pain. Like that's huge. Huge. I think that makes up for the losing some of the re-rolls and things they had. So yeah, Death Skulls are still very strong in my book. It does overall feel a lot more balanced between the different clans. They all seem to have something. Now, like I said, the one that we're really competing with is the freebooters. I think the freebooters have got some really nice abilities. But I think for just pure up shooting, I think the Bad Moons are better. I think the freebooters have some other skills and stuff as well. But yeah, I think Bad Moons are definitely the best place to go for shooting. And in terms of shooting, so units. Let's start with the boys, shall we? Let's get to the boys. So as I said earlier, Slugger Chopper Boys are the go-to, in my opinion, for every clan other than Bad Moons. I think for the Bad Moons, the Shoota Boyz will actually be... That's where you're going to get the best out of them. I think for a lot of the other clans, I don't see them being used or chosen over Slugger Chopper Boys. Hardly at all. Unless people have got a very particular theme or something in mind. But with Bad Moons, yeah, I think they're looking good. So... they've got 24-inch range with their Daca Weapons, which is nice. So at 24 inches, they're going to be hitting 2 shots. And then within 12 inches, they're going to be hitting the 3 shots from their shooters. So that extra range is really nice, especially since they can't advance and shoot. So I think with Bad Moons, that 6-inch extra range sort of somewhat softens the blow of not being able to advance with these Daca Weapons and still shoot them. I think that helps us. And I think Bad Moons, we're going to be the players that can cope with the loss of that, the loss of assault weapons, better than any other clan. Because I think this does soften the blow. And yet, we can't get as close as we could before, but we don't need to get as close as we did before because we've got that added range. And most other factions' standard weaponry is 24-inch range is pretty standard. And it did always hurt us. We would be out of range at 18 inches and they could keep us at that sort of range and pose a threat to us, and we couldn't pose any threat to them because we were out of range. So being 24, the same as most other factions now, is very, very nice. But I think where it really helps us the most is now getting the most out of the Daca special rule in that once we're within half range, so now once we're within 12 inches, being able to shoot 3 shots is so much better than 9 inches because it means, for one, we could be dejumped or deep strike down and whatever, things like that are... We're going to be getting those 3 shots now from that range. So we can deep strike in just over 9 inches away from an enemy and then give the full Daca treatment on them with all those exploding 6s and possibly a showing off stratagem with more exploding 6s. So I think Shoota Boyz are going to be pretty tasty in a Bad Moon detachment. But yeah, other clans, I think you're pretty... I think it's going to be a hard sell going for a Shoota Boy over a Slugger Chopper Boy for anyone else. And even for us, I think Slugger Chopper Boys are still... even in a Bad Moons detachment, I think Slugger Chopper Boys are really fucking good. They're really good. That improvement to the chopper is going to be really nice. But yeah, it goes on to things like the Big Shooter as well. Big Shooter being able to spit out 5 shots and having the extra range on that as well. What was it before? It's big shooter is 36-inch range, so it's going to be a 42-inch range for Bad Moons. And to get the maximum 5 shots, you're going to be getting that at 21-inch range. So, yeah, you're going to be getting, I think, on the whole, Bad Moons are going to be rolling more dice in the shooting phase. And those dice are going to be getting more hits and doing more damage than any other clan. So, yeah. I think a lot of people were a bit disappointed when they saw like what the Shoota Boyz were getting and how the Daca Weapons were happening. And they were like, well, Slugger Chopper Boys are just so much better. And yeah, I overall agree with that. Unless you're yellow. If you're yellow, Shoota Boyz are going to be pretty good. So yeah, I'm liking Shoota Boyz. I'm liking the idea of getting the weird boy to jump Shoota Boyz. Big mob of 30 Shoota Boyz. Throwing a few big shooters in there and just go full on Daca and do the showing off. I think it's going to be a bucket of dice. And some AP1 shooter shots coming in with those 6s, like I say, those 6s to wound, some AP1s, baby. Oh, it does make the difference. It really does. So yeah, I'm really, really liking that. What other units do I want to focus on? Like I said, I'm not going to go through every single unit and what it's going to be like from a Bad Moon perspective, but just some typical sort of Bad Moon units, shall we say. Another one I want to focus on, one of my favourites, the Tankbustas. Now, Tankbustas, in my opinion, just my opinion, have been nerfed massively in this codex. I still think they're useful. I still think they're going to do some serious damage, but they're not going to be anything like they were before. Rockets changing from an assault weapon to a heavy weapon hurts them a lot because now when they move, they're a -1. Yeah, that hurts a lot. And they also don't get the re-rolls against vehicles. They now, on the vehicles, they add 1 to the hit roll, which is nice. And that's for both melee and shooting. And that is so that's good. And that negates the heavy weapon side of the rocket when you're targeting vehicles. When you're targeting infantry, it won't. So yeah, they've lost the re-roll, which obviously going to be a lot better. But if they're standing still and shooting, they're going to be hitting on 4s instead of 5s, which is really nice. Really, really nice. But Tankbustas got a short range. They've got 24-inch range. So the whole thing with Tankbustas is that they could move in. They had to get within that dangerous threat range to be able to shoot their rockets, and it puts themselves at risk. So then they get shot off the board very quickly. And that's where them being assault weapons helped, because they could move up, fire, do their damage, and then they'd die. Whereas now, yeah, that being the heavy weapons and stuff, and yeah, they're just going to be a bit harder. But again, Bad Moons, they get the 6-inch range added. So they've got a 30-inch range, which can make a lot of difference. And D3, so up to 3 rockets each is a lot. That is a lot, and they're blast weapons. So I still think Tankbustas are going to be very good. I just think they're going to be a little bit more difficult to sort of use and position, but I think Bad Moon Tankbustas are going to be very nice. Very, very nice indeed. And they still use the showing off stratagem with them, because that... potentially up to 3 rockets each hitting with that heavy D3 shots, hitting on 4s on vehicles, and then a lot of exploding 6s to hit, getting extra hits on top of that with that flat 3 damage. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. So yeah, I think yeah, Tankbustas. There's a lot changed, but I think their role and their usefulness has stayed the same. It's just going to make you think a little bit more how you use them. I still think they're going to be very good. Are they going to be as good as they were before? I mean, with the loss of the old stratagems and the Daca that they used to get, and the re-rolls against vehicles and stuff made them so effective. But I think now the amount of shots and the exploding 6s and things, and especially if they're standing still when they're hitting on 3s, going to be nice. Also, they could be put in the what is it called? The Big Ed boss bunker, which has that has some nice rules in it. So yeah, anything embarked within that counts as having remained stationary, and this thing is a vehicle, so you could teleport the boss bunker in with the Tankbustas inside, well within that 30-inch range. They count as remaining stationary, even though they've teleported in, which usually they'd count as moving. So they're hitting on 4s against vehicles. You use the showing off stratagem on them, get all them exploding 6s on top of those 4s. Yeah, it's going to be pretty good. It's going to be pretty good. So yeah, I think Bad Moon Tankbustas still really good because of the extra range and because of the showing off stratagem. Yeah, the exploding 6s on the wound as well, going from AP -2 to AP -3, just makes them that little bit more devastating. So yeah, I think Tankbustas are still going to be a mainstay in most Bad Moon armies. They certainly are in mine anyway. Mega Knobs are looking good. Mega Knobs, even a bog standard one with custom shooters, much like the Shoota Boyz, they're getting double so 24-inch. So within 12 inches, they're getting 6 shots each. Very nice. Added range on their rockets and things if they got combi rockets. Yeah, I think Bad Moon Mega Knob's going to be nice and shooty. But where did I want to get to? Where did I want to get to next? What did I write down here? I know what it is. Let's get to it on the page. Have I gone past them? No, here they are. Lootas. Another firm favourite for Bad Moon players. Lootas. So the def gun changed quite a bit. You can now only have up to 12 looters in a squad because they have the spanners. So basically for every 4 looters you have to have a spanner. So you can have up to 12 looters and up to 3 spanners to make a squad of 15. It kind of sucks, but it's because what you get in the box. So you get the spanners in there. But the def guns. The def guns are no longer a heavy weapon. They are a Daca weapon, which is nice because that means looters can move and shoot without any -1, which is really good. And they are Daca 3/2. So at 48-inch range, they're getting 2 shots, and within 24-inch range, they're getting 3 shots. Still strength 7, still AP -1, still damage 2. So still, I think they're still pretty much putting out the same sort of damage. Before they were D3 shots, heavy D3. But the fact that they can move now and get into position, that's going to be very useful in certain circumstances, especially if you want to get within that half range to get the 3 shots, which is going to be a lot easier to do than just rolling a D3 and hoping that you get the 5 or 6 to get the 3 shots. So yeah, I think they're going to be a lot more reliable than they were before, a lot less random. And especially being Bad Moons, because they go from 48-inch range to a 54-inch range, which is like 27-inch half range. So at 27 inches, they're getting the 3 shots. So yeah, Bad Moon Looters looking very nice. Again, all the exploding 6s as well. Don't ever forget about those exploding 6s because they're just going to mount up so much. And again, I think showing off is going to be another really good stratagem to use with looters. I think Bad Moon looters are going to be a really big threat on the table. Really, really big threat. I mean, 54-inch range there's just nowhere you can hide from them. Yeah. Very, very good. And the fact that they can move a bit and still shoot them as well. The fact that they're Daca guns now instead of heavy guns. I'm very surprised at that, actually, that they made the def gun Daca weapon rather than a heavy weapon. But I'm not disappointed by it at all. And I don't currently use looters, but I might start using them now because, yeah, I think looters are going to be really nice. Again, them exploding 6s to wound, jumping them from AP -1 to AP -2, getting extra hits if you use the showing off. Just really, really, really good stuff. I'm sure you'll agree. I've also put in, and now it's something that I really, really like about this codex, something that I really, really like is Flash kits are no longer locked to being freebooters. Thank God. I hated that. I hated that before, that they were basically freebooters, but you could put them in your clan, but they wouldn't benefit from the clan trait. It sucked. It totally sucked. Because the whole lore behind flash kits is that eventually they become too flashy and too showing off and too ostentatious, and they get on the nerves of the other orcs within the clan and eventually get turfed out, even in Bad Moon clans. But there is a point before that happens. And I think there will be exceptions to the rule. Not all flash kits are freebooters, and I'm glad that GW have recognised that. And so now we can have Bad Moon flash kits. Yes, 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 because what could feel more right than that? Really, really cool. This makes flash kits so much better because they can benefit from whatever clan you're in and benefit from the traits. So that's really cool. And the snaz gun, being a heavy 3, 24-inch range, in the hands of a Bad Moon flash kit is now 30-inch range. The gun's good. Strength 6, AP -2, damage 2. So exploding 6s, it will jump to AP -3. The showing off stratagem couldn't be more apt than to use on flash kits. I think would be really good with them as well. I think Lootas, flash kits and Tankbustas, all three of those units are going to be very at home in a Bad Moon list. Tankbusters for targeting heavy vehicles are going to be really good. Flash kits for targeting infantry and heavy infantry are going to be really nice. And I think Lootas are going to fill that middle ground where they'll be really good at infantry and also really good at some vehicles, maybe some lighter vehicles and things. So yeah, I think flash kits, Lootas and Tankbusters, or just use all three, because that would be the orky thing to do. Just go full on Daca. But yeah, 3 really good shooty units there that we can use. Yeah, really, really good. And I'm so pleased that we can have Bad Moon flash kits. That is so, so cool. Because it really did suck when they were just freebooters before. That really did suck. And I didn't like it. What else have I written down? Another unit I want to look at. Another one that I think is going to benefit massively from being a Bad Moon, the Daca Jet. Because the Daca Jet is armed with the Super Shooter. It's armed with 4 of them, and it can be armed with 6 of them. And let's face it, it's always gonna be armed with 6, isn't it? Why? Unless you really need to save some points. Yeah, of course you're gonna. Why would you not strap the extra Super Shooters on? Because they're Daca 6/4, 36-inch range, which would be a 42-inch range. Bad Moons. So 24-inch range, you'll be getting them 6 shots per gun. So 36 shots from the Super Shooters there. Yeah, it's really, really good. That is really good. I think vehicles on the whole, flyers on the whole, got a lot better because they all benefit from ramshackle now, which is really nice. So they're going to be that much harder to bring down. And you're still subtracting the 1 to hit them, and you're taking 1 off the damage when you do hit them. They're going to be quite survivable, I think, or at least a lot more survivable than they were. But I think the amount of damage this thing can put out with those Daca shots, they're strength 6, AP -1, damage 1. With Bad Moon, it's just going to be more reliable, more range, more shots, exploding 6s, and that's a really, really. Yeah, that is just bloody lovely. Bloody lovely, I think. So yeah, Daca Jet, Bad Moon Daca Jet is going to be nice. Anything just strapped with loads of Daca guns in the hands of a Bad Moon is going to be really nice. Daca guns or heavy weapons. The other one, Gorkanau, I think that's a standout. The Deathstorm Mega Shooter that the Gorkanau has is range 36, so from a Bad Moon that's going to be range 42. Daca 30/20, so at 21 inches you're going to be getting the full 30 shots from that. Strength 6, AP -1, damage 1. And that's not counting the the 2 rocket launchers it's got, the 2 big shooters it's got, which also benefit from that extra range. Yeah, bloody lovely. That thing is going to be spitting out all kinds of Daca, even though it is a Lord of War. But yeah, Bad Moon Gorkanau is going to be something to behold, I think. It really, really is. Yeah, but I mean, like I said, there you go. I think that'll do for picking out some units. But yeah, there's my thoughts on it. I'm just having a look over my notes now to see if there's anything I wrote down that I didn't go over. I think I covered it all. And like I say, these are very much just my kind of initial thoughts at reading it through the Codex from a Bad Moon player perspective, from someone that is the type of units that I would be wanting to use in my Bad Moon list, and looking at what those units could do and what I have got access to and stuff. I think I've only just scratched the surface of what's possible. I think there's lots of other good units in there, like things like the Boom Daca Snaz Wagon. I don't even know. There's loads more. There's loads more stuff. I'm sure the Kill Rig is going to be really tasty. Some of them Beast Snagger units are going to be really nice. But yeah, I think if you're going to want to do a Shooty Ork list, you're going to have to really go with freebooters or Bad Moons. Death Skull's a little bit, because they get a little couple of like re-rolls. Not as many as they did before. I don't think they get to re-roll the damage anymore. They get to re-roll like a hit or a wound or something like that. They don't get as many re-rolls. And I think they've got to choose now, maybe. Or it might be, I can't even remember. I didn't pay it that much attention. I was mostly focused on the Bad Moons. But yeah, overall, what do I think? Overall, I'm very pleased with it. I'm really excited to try some of this stuff out. Yes, we have lost a little bit of stuff, but I think we've gained much more. And I think a Bad Moon Ork list is going to be the optimum clan to use for a shooty Ork list. And I think there's a lot of potential for some serious Daca punishment and to really surprise your opponent. When them 6s start showing on the table, I think you're going to wipe this. Oh yeah, no, yeah, that's that many saves. Oh, but you got that many at -1. Then we're like, oh, what? From Shoota Boyz? Yeah. Yeah, your Space Marines are now on a 4+ save. It makes a huge difference, and those differences are going to stack up. I love the fact we can show off every turn now, because why do you only want to show off once per game? You want to show off every turn. Bad Moons, that's what we do, we show off. We come dressed in yellow, throwing the Daca out and showing off. That is what we do. Yeah, overall, I think it's really, really good. And I'm just so looking forward to trying it. I'm so looking forward to getting some games in with this. It's been so long since I've played. And there's so much to read about, because this feels like a completely different army now. It really does. This is such a significant change to the Orks. And I think it's a change that we really needed. I think there's so much good in here. There is some bad. There is some bad as well. But this isn't really the video for that, because it's not really a full review video of the Codex. I just really wanted to focus in on Bad Moons, and I think there's so many more. There's so many Ork YouTubers out there now. Some really damn good ones. A lot of which are very good friends of mine, who are doing the similar sort of content as me of reviews and talking about this stuff. And so it becomes more of a challenge these days to try and think of something unique that you haven't seen yet. And I'm fairly confident that no one else has really done a video like this yet, at least focused in on the Bad Moons to this extent. Maybe there has. Maybe Auspex Tactics has done something like this. I enjoy his channel and watch a lot of his stuff, and he's been covering the Orks a lot lately. But yeah, I just thought it sensible that I just focus in on what I'm all about with the Orks and what I'm interested in. I possibly will revisit this type of format with the Codex and look at the other clans a bit. Or I might do a video maybe going over all the other clans in one bit. I don't know yet. I don't think I'll have as much to say, but let me know in the comments if you want to see that. If you'd like to see me break down all the clans and do a video in a similar format to this, but focusing on all the other clans. And it could be quite fun, actually. It could be quite fun, because I am interested in what they can do. And just, I won't play them very often. I I'm Bad Moons for life, baby. But I do like to experiment with the other clans just for fun sometimes. So yeah, it'd be interesting to have a look, a bit of a closer, in-depth look at what they've got to offer and think about what their traits and stuff could benefit. And I think that's quite important when you pick a clan. There's lots of different reasons you pick a clan. Thematically it speaks to you, or just because you think it's the most powerful one on the table for like a tournament or whatever. But I think once you pick a clan, that really directs you into what units you pick. Or maybe the other way around for some people. Maybe they pick the army first and then pick the clan trait that fits that army best. I don't know. But yeah, whenever I'm sort of in the Codex looking at the deck, I'm looking towards the shooty stuff more. I'm not considering the melee stuff at all. I still want my orcs to hit, like a sledgehammer in combat. I still want those big choppers and the power claws and stuff. But yeah, I definitely sort of steer my army lists much more towards the Daca. Because I do love that Daca. I do love that Daca. And I think it's going to be so good in here, just the amount of dice you're going to be rolling. I'm really looking forward to trying out Shoota Boyz and trying out different sort of ways of using them to get the most out of them and surprise my opponent and just sort of unleash literal buckets of dice. I'm loving the idea of like 30 Shoota Boyz like being jumped across the table and then unloading the 3 shots each. Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me on this one. Hopefully I didn't waffle too much. And hopefully you enjoyed it. And I look forward to reading all your comments. Like I said earlier in the video, if there's anything that you think, share what units you think are really good to benefit from the Bad Moon traits. What Warlord traits you want to use, what relics you want to use with your characters, which characters you think benefit most from these Bad Moon relics and traits. What do you think of the new showing off stratagem? Do you think would you prefer the old one, or do you like this one better? It is weaker, but we can use it every turn, so over the game is it going to be stronger? It's not just a one-trick pony like the last one. So yeah, all that and anything else you want to share, guys. Share your suggestions, your comments, your feedback, everything. I'm interested in it all. Let's get a discussion going and let's make it interesting for the viewers who want to go and scroll through and read more info about Bad Moons. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. You'll be seeing me again before long. I am actually appearing soon on a and I will close this video down soon. I'm appearing soon on the Odd Boys show, Essex Boys, another Ork channel you should go and check out, and the Drunken Ork, another awesome channel you should go and check out if you don't already. They've got a show together called the Odd Boys, and they've asked me to come and appear on it soon to talk about this in a bit more detail, so that's going to be really good fun. That's going to be happening soon. When that happens, I'll share a link to it, so you can find me on that and come over, give those boys some love, hit the subscribe button. It's going to be good fun. But yeah, there's going to be so much more to talk about with this. This really is the year of the Ork. But anyway, guys, enough from me. This is the Bad Moon 6+ Stevo signing out.